Radiant team ban.
Hast du das letzte Spiel
Dire
gesehen?
team ban.
Ja.
Radiant team ban.
Dann geht's los in 20 Sekunden oder so.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've had some troubles loading into the lobby, but we're all Gucci now. Team Kinguin versus Evil Corporation. Game number 3 here. A lot of people probably didn't suspect that, but you see, well, I told you guys. They know how to play Dota. They've got, they pulled out the Oracle Huskar strat in the last game. It did take them a while to succeed, but after an hour, they managed to eke out a win. My name is DragonDrop, bringing you this last game, and this time I'm also joined by the one, the only Skim. How are you doing?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. It was a really exciting game too there, and I was watching and I thought, hey, gotta get on this cast. Some high quality stuff. Really a bit of a nail biter. I mean, at some point I thought Kinguin would just strike back, you know.
Yeah.
But Mega Creeps is a fickle beast to deal with.
They certainly tried, but they couldn't quite make it happen with the lineup that they had. And speaking of lineups, what is it with people copying their drafts in the next games? Like,
it's the exact same draft from last game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And even the first 3 picks.
I think the bands might be different. Let me check. No,
possibly,
the bands are exactly the same.
I mean, even in game 1, we also had the tiny first pick, then Titan Jack Hero for Team Kinguin. Then the Warlock was different, so it's...
The first difference here is the Oracle ban. So, don't want to deal with that Oracle Huskar again. That certainly was very difficult to deal with for them. You could see how they struggled to really deal with the Huskar when he was sieging towers. They didn't really want to go in, because they knew, obviously, the Oracle was going to be there with the save. It's just very annoying if you don't specifically draw for it as well. Good for them to take it out.
Yep. Now the Ursa as well, so there's still possibility for Huskar. I mean, there's some other saving heroes. You're thinking about, like Dazzle perhaps, but with the Warlock already in the field, you maybe don't have as much freedom to take that. Even though Area, who's the 4th position for them, has been playing the Warlock in the last game. Doesn't necessarily mean that he will this time. At this point we see the draft of the Verge. Maybe they can go pick up the Clockwork or something else for him. They can make a little bit more action happen with, because, well, Warlock, very passive hero, very defensive hero in nature, for the most part, until he gets to the 6th, and he can maybe use that to secure a few tower pushes or team fights and whatnot.
Warlock are very interesting here, not very popular in the meta. Has mostly been a niche pick for a couple of teams. You know, Complexity picked it a couple of times. It's a strange hero, especially as an early pick, because it's a very weak hero in the laning stage, very exploitable, and you know, it's very slow. Only has a heal, and I mean, it has Fatal Bonds, and then that's slow. But those aren't really spells to use in the early game too often, or rather, there are better spells in the early game to use. So this is definitely something that, you know, Kinguin could look to exploit, and by all means, Tidehunter, you know, as an offlaner is very difficult to deal with in the lane already. I will say though that, you know, as a zoning hero, Warlock isn't too bad. He has a pretty long attack range, and his attack animation isn't too bad either. I'm not actually sure about his attack damage, but I mean, he's not going to zone at a Tidehunter completely. Very unlikely, very difficult, but. Unless Kinguin picks something like super, well, I was about to say super aggressive. I don't think the Earthspread is going to be super aggressive with the Titan in the offlane. It just doesn't really work too well. They don't have a lot of kill potential. So generally speaking, I think the safe lane should be fine for Evil Corporation.
Oh yeah. You don't have to follow up, so you don't really want to gank the Titan to lane, because he can't really provide any, as you said, no kill potential, so... But yeah, we saw that same kind of dynamic in the last game. Warlock just trying to deal with the Tidehunter as he comes into contest pulls and whatnot. Tidehunter couldn't really get close to the Huskar though in that lane. So Yeah, it worked decently well.
Yeah, but that's definitely more of a Huskar thing, right?
That's
More
just free farm, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another Void pickup from Evil Corporation. This time is a third pick. Most likely going to be their offlaner again. It's a fine pick. I'm not sure how he did. How did he do in the landing stage in the last game?
Very badly. He could not really get anything done. He was zoned out time and time again.
I figured against Jakiro, he shouldn't be getting it. He shouldn't be really close to the creep wave at all. So I'm surprised they picked it this early, honestly.
And,
It does add a lot of teamfight control.
Yeah, I'm told that my voice echoes through yours in game somehow.
Alright, I have you muted.
I'm not sure how that works. Maybe mute Cobrock? I don't know, I don't know. Dota's weird sometimes. I don't know, yeah.
I'll keep monitoring it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, so it's just one of these things, right? Dota's still in beta, and especially with these kind of broadcasting voice, it's one of the areas that has been subpar for a long, long time. So yeah, just gonna hope it gets better, and if not, well, not a whole lot else we can do about that. Medusa pick though, alright. Earthspirit, that's something that they've run before even in the Perfect World Masters. Medusa is becoming more and more popular these days as well. And up against Tiny, Fizz's Void, these melee core heroes, what's the solution for Evil Corporation here? What can they pick up next to try and deal with that?
That's a good question. They need some better sort of initiation right now. I think that was actually one of my biggest gripes with the lineup they had last game. The initiation was Huskar and then Void. That's not really great initiation. Yeah. And they need something to sort of jump the Medusa, get close to her, because they're gonna get kited really if they just want to run in. Even if they have a Blink on the Tiny, it's still not gonna be an easy initiation onto the Medusa. I like the next assassin. It is sort of an initiating type, of course, with the Impale. It creates a lot of confusion. It's really good against the Medusa, of course, with the Mana Burn.
Yep.
And generally speaking, just a good roamer overall. But I think the mid hero needs to be, or I mean, most likely it's going to be this Tiny mid again. But I would love if the last core was some sort of like more aggressive style mid game sort of like playmaker, right? Something like a Puck, like a Queen of Pain. I know Puck's been banned, but something in that regard. Because I feel like right now, and that's also again was my gripe in the last game from them. Their lineup is a bit greedy right now. Like, they just don't really provide a lot right now outside of, well, we have the Chronosphere, but what do we do during the Chronosphere? I guess we Warlock Ultimate? That's it, right?
Pretty much,
so something that deals more immediate damage, especially early on, would be very preferable here. Otherwise, you're going to play against the late game Dusa, and you don't really want that. Like, if Kinguin have a Dusa in their last game, they probably win in like 60-70%. If that's not a PA but a Dusa, they win 100%.
Yep. Well, let's see what Evil Corporation want to pick up. They don't have a lot of reserve time left, so they're gonna have to settle for something soon. Queen of Pain wouldn't be the worst. Gyrocopter, if it wasn't banned out, would actually be perfect here, I think, out of mid lane. Get some extra range, plenty of spells to throw into the Chronosphere and whatnot. Able to match the farm a little bit, but it's a slog. Alright, so mid-tiny, perhaps? Slog safe, Void offlane seems to be the most likely here, but yeah, you don't want to run Slug against Medusa mid, right?
Yeah,
it's hard enough as it is with the Mystic Snake.
Tiny does pretty well in mid matchups these days because of the tree. Like, he does actually decently well against
Alright, so very melee heavy lineup. With the Chronosphere on top, it's not common. It's not easy to pull off, but you can make it work, right? If you manage to play the Chronosphere properly.
Well, you say that, but did you see the Void in the last game?
Yeah,
look, I don't mean to be mean, but those are some questionable Chronospheres.
Yeah.
I understand why he was really hesitant at times to drop a Chronosphere because it can, break the game, but I mean, come on. Definitely not his best game as a Void. And like I said, it's really difficult in this game as well, but generally speaking, I like their lineup a lot better. Justice Slark is pretty much what I said, right? He's like a mid-game sort of like dominator, sets the pace of the game, very aggressive, can deal a lot of damage early on, and it's just generally good against Medusa with the stat or with the essence shift. And they don't have a lot of good answers to it, I don't think. Yeah, you do have the silence, but generally speaking, you want more AoE sort of like control and outside of Ravage and I guess Ice Path. Although obviously, both aren't necessarily
seconds
great
remaining.
spells against them either. So
It's very telegraphed, so you should always be able to get the Dark Pact off
remaining.
when you see these
Yeah.
kind of spells coming out. So Exotic Deer, not the worst. Like you, again, that's also projectile stun though. So Ryujin can technically outplay most of what Kinguin has against him. If he doesn't though, then he can end up being very squishy, especially with his Vengeful Spirit in his core role. I actually really like that because you do have to reduce it for the late game. Exotic Deer will then still buffer up, but you still have this aggressive potential between that, Alisage and Katsuo of course as well, being very effective here if they get levels into the spell. And also around this Titan to Ravage. Like you're not just reliant on using that as a threat to keep Evil Corporation away, so the Medusa can farm. You can also actually make some kills happen yourself, take control of the pace early game, and then you might not even have to take it all the way late.
I think I have to restart Dota, but I mean they're paused anyway. Whatever.
Yep. Yep.
In the game, but generally speaking, it's not really a great item pickup for her because obviously, it doesn't. The stats aren't good for her at all. So this could be an issue if the game goes late. But if the game goes late, then you also have to question: can you really kill the Dusa effectively? They have the defensive swap for it, so if she ever gets Chronosphere, she can swap her out. They have frontliners with the Spirit or with the Earth Spirit, with the Tidehunter. They have a lot of good counter initiation. Like this is, I think, one thing that I think allowed Kinguin to play so well in the last game. They had really strong counter initiation. The Tidehunter went in the back line with the countering the Chronosphere by just ravaging everybody else. Yeah, you hit a 3-man Chronosphere, but if everybody else is ravaged, you're not going to kill anything in that Chronosphere. So this is, I think, something that Kinguin will just what we saw from Penta yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? Just play around the Dusa, just buy her as much time as possible, and then rely on the Dusa to carry you.
Yeah. Certainly seems to be a very effective strategy these days, and yeah, as I said, it's going to be down to Evil Corporation to try and play around that. Just leveraging the Nyx Assassin, leveraging the Chronosphere more than anything else. It's going to be hard, but I can definitely see it happening.
Fine.
At the same time, Kinguin, they're very determined as well, right? They want another big LAN event.
You know what I think fixed the whole mute co-caster thing? Just toggling that option. Like I had it enabled, but
Of course.
I clicked it, I toggled it, and now it's working. I'm pretty sure it's working. So sorry for all the Dota TV viewers out there, but Dota is just really stupid sometimes.
Well, again, I have no explanation for that. It should be working much smoother than it is, considering how long these issues are there and kind of cropping up now and then. But, well, Valve doesn't really work that way all the time. You need more Reddit threads about it, I guess. It's the one way to make them do anything.
Indeed. The Tidehunter's starting out with 10 tangos. Oof, that's a lot of region. It's tough. Tidehunter against Slark is a really tough tough matchup actually. You'd think that again against any melee hero, Tidehunter usually does well, but there are some heroes that are a bit special, and Slark plus Warlock against Tidehunter is actually really difficult. And like we pointed out earlier, it's not like Tidehunter has a lot of kill potential even with the Earth Spirit, so it's not like they could turn it around, try and get a pick off on the Warlock, which is again a very exploitable support. And this is something where I think Kinguin might have issues in the laning stage, being unable to find those kills with the Earth Spirit early on. Void is also not an easy hero to kill, obviously with Time Walk. And then you have Tiny Nyx, both rather tanky heroes. Not easy.
I mean, if they do make the decision to perhaps rotate the Jakira into the top lane as well for a little bit, and just try and surprise them, have that extra bit of slows and whatnot to work with. I mean, Slark in some of these circumstances, if he gets gone on, if you start to throw the damage towards him, until he hits level 6, he doesn't really have the best defense utility against that, so he can also be exploited like that. But at that point you end up with a 1v1 matchup in the bottom lane where Faceless Void can get his levels, so it really depends on what you prioritize more. I think said though, Faceless Void, he's going mid this game. By the looks of it, perhaps?
No, I think they're making their lane swap because I believe that they scouted out that, you know, the Tidehunter was going to make the swap towards the bottom lane. And they definitely want the Slark Tidehunter matchup. Because Void gets trashed by Tidehunter in lane.
He is mid, I mean, that's what the share tangos, so...
That's
and
fine.
Tiny making his way up top.
Yeah, definitely want to give the Slark the Tidehunter matchup. As for whether or not you want Tiny or Void mid, that's a bit surprising. Honestly, I would have preferred the Tiny mid just because I think he can do much better in this lane. But maybe it's just a kind of preference thing.
Yep. Flensmeister was saying, dude, didn't hit your Chronos last game, I'm gonna take that and show you how it's done.
Basically, yeah.
Tiny. Who knows? Roll in here on top of On Me though, speaking of him. Gets a toss back. Going for the tree grab first, he's just holding onto a point in case he needed it. Eating his way through trees, so 2 tangos down already. Gonna be a bit annoying here, but now that he knows the cats will stay, he'll be able to play a little bit more defensively. And down bottom, area joining in. So you have this dual lane set up with the Tidehunter, but Alisage also sticking around himself. Interestingly, lanes end up shaping up, but that does also mean that Kaoli has no match in mid. Nisha all alone up against 2.
Yeah, that's fine. They don't have a lot of kill potential on this juice anyway, or they shouldn't have. Unless Nisha really oversteps and, you know, he logs across the river and then gets caught up by a stun. He should be sort of fine. But this bottom lane, I think this is sort of fine for Kinguin for now. They have to be careful once Slark has more levels. I think from level 4 or 5 onwards, he has actually a bit of kill potential onto the Jakiro. So, but until then, Jakiro is just going to keep on doing like what he's doing right now, just being so annoying.
It's constant dual breath spam. Even at level 1, it's very effective. He's kind of out of mana now and can only make an occasional round. Almost getting in range to cancel that with perhaps a mana burn, but doesn't quite find it Kinguin defensively enough. Though I'm not sure they actually saw the Nyx Assassin come in.
So what I really dislike about this lineup, or this laning stage from Evil Corporation, is that they give the farm priority to the Void effectively. And but Void is
that's all bottom lane. Come jump Alisage and done with his bullshit. Trying to bring down Alisage. No, Dark Pack actually, but a nice little follow-up stun for Kaoli. They'll secure the first blood. Pathos unable to really put enough damage onto the Slark, and now in fact he might be in trouble as well. They have another jump in a couple of seconds, stun as well. Looks like he'll make his way back out, and now the roller from Katsu. He has to jump away, double stun for Kaoli. Secure Reagent survival, but only just. Katsu already gave an impact area with the slows. Pathos doesn't have a spell here in case they need it, but the right click's not enough. Alright, one front trade down here. First blood advantage going towards Reagent though. But still, on level 2, that was the south, only 1 tango left. It's gonna run out of Regen before long down here.
Yep, it's gonna be a tough end. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more 2v2, 3v3 kind of action here. The other lanes don't really need a lot of support. Exotic Deer certainly doesn't need it against the Tiny. And again, it's not like they have a lot of kill potential in this Deuce anyway, or the Void. So I wouldn't be surprised if both Romas decided to spend a lot of time down here. You know, both the 5 position supports, Jakiro and Warlock, actually pretty easy targets to kill.
Yep.
Although I guess, as I say that, looks like they're rotating the lane back out to top lane. I think that's actually a pretty good move from Evil Corporation. As much as you want that matchup against the Tidehunter, I think you have to realize that this bottom lane is currently losing.
Yeah. We'd rather have Slark with a little bit of easier farm to work with, even if it does mean working up against Vengeful Spirit. Aerial will probably eventually make his way up top there as well. It's Kaoli. Plops down the ward, he did see the Jakiro making that same rotation. Just continuing to be a nuisance to the Slark. And yeah, Reagent, as we said, out of Reagent. Gets himself another set of tangles, but now Alisage a little bit too deep here. Gets jumped on Kaoli with a follow-up stun. Just in time. Kill the big old dragon one more time. Hashtag stop dragon abuse. He doesn't deserve that.
I mean, he kind of does if he steps that far out, you know? I guess he wanted to place a ward. I don't really know why else he would be in that position at that point. But, again, the 5 positions are definitely the ones that you look towards in this early stage. Those are the kind of heroes that can kill with minimal sort of rotation. The other lanes are just super tanky. Like, you're not gonna go gank the Tyke, you're not gonna go to gank the Dusa or the Void.
Gonna gank Region though, this time the jump is not enough. One last punch from Katzos after he rolls in. Yeah, that was set up by Magic Missile too, and this is the strength of Eventual Spirit in this kind of a core roll. The other carry next to the creep wave here is that's farming and also has an initiation potential like that.
I feel like
You
these
did
kind of kills,
straight back to
I
bottom.
feel like these kind of kills shouldn't happen, especially since I have 2 wards dedicated to this top lane.
Yeah.
I have 2 wards. I'm not sure, I didn't quite see it. Maybe Katsur played out of like the perfect Fog of War position, but I feel like he should have been scouted. So this is something they have to be careful of. You really don't want to give away these kills.
Yeah. Plus on bottom, the pounce will miss the stun as well, so Paddles will be absolutely fine. Level 5 already anyway, so 3 points of an anchor smash. Not gonna do a whole lot of damage. Especially with the Kraken channel on top, so right clicks, even with the Slark, even with the bit of Essence Shift, it's not really going to do the trick.
Laning stage is not going well for the Evil Corporation. Top lane, find another kill into the Warlock.
Oh man.
Bottom lane, they might lose a Tiny here as well.
Oh. Going on him, double stun, Keoli gets it off onto Katsu, another toss. Well, he did secure the extra boundary rune with the toss play as well, we saw that. But, well, they're able to make its way out, and then now they're shrining up, so they're ready to go again. But Ryujin, I don't know what he was doing there. He might control as well. No more jump, the avalanche just in time. Pretty sure the extra couple of Rikers don't come out, and now the stun after the toss. Little Sash also making an appearance, though, and all of a sudden, Evil Corporation, they don't have anything else left to throw at them.
Oh, they have a roll
Only
now.
with another toss, trying to do some damage. And Korea comes towards the Pathos as he's being tossed back out in the tower. They will get that kill, especially with Flintspice rotating in. But at what cost? 1 front trade so far, they're looking for more. Chronosphere could lead into a kill onto Little Sash. If they even need it.
Well,
Ryujin though, okay. That was very bold indeed.
that would have been really awkward if he saves the Chronosphere, because they definitely kill that Jakiro without Chronosphere, but if he loses the Slark in the process,
Yeah. Ooh, well tossed back here onto Nisha. He does have Mana Shield. Nice little Mystic Snake coming through, so Onmi will not be able to secure a kill with that. But we love seeing these cute plays with the toss. And now there it is, the Chronosphere. All just a setup for Flensmeister to take him over. Needs a time lock though, 1 or 2 at least. Doesn't get it.
and in the
Very
meantime,
unfortunate.
still from the
Bottom,
Titan.
yeah.
Yeah, this laning stage not working out for Evil Corporation. If you look at the net worth, the Dusa is 1k ahead. She, will have the Venge also being basically 400 or 500 ahead of the Slark as well. I don't even want to look at the Tiny. The Tiny net worth is basically negligible. He's below the Warlock.
Oh yeah. That's the biggest problem, right? You have the cores farming quite well. Pathos even, like, even though it doesn't have, he even has a lot of lasters, even if he didn't. The levels that he has, now with the Ravage online, so that's trap potential. He's exactly where he wants to be on his Tidehunter.
He's the Void.
Sash up top, super low, yeah, he should be able to. Stun comes through though, swap available here to buy some extra time. Flensmeister, he's actually just straight up gonna die. Katsu rotating in. The swap bringing Onmi a little bit closer and the toss coming through. Finish up the hero, but that was not worth it at all. Avalanche, couple of right clicks, but there's this stun on Exotic Deer. Way too strong at this point in the game. They're looking for another one. Katsu with the slows area. Exotic Deer, one more stun not available. Almost. Area. Yeah, he'll barely survive this.
I believe that was not worth it after all is a good summary of this laning stage so far. They've done a lot of lane swaps as well. Like the Slark has swapped lanes 3 times. Same for the Tiny, obviously. And they're just not really getting anything done. They're trying to focus on these kills, but again, they're trading inefficiently with this kill as well, giving away crucial kills. They don't even get the cores, really. They get the supports, that's nice. They haven't gotten the Dusa. They committed a Chronosphere for the Dusa, again, didn't get it. Venge has been completely uncontested, so this is a bit troublesome for them, because, I mean, Dusa, Venge is a strong core lineup already, but if they get uncontested like this, or they get even fed with kills, bit of a troublesome for Evil Corporation here.
The biggest of leads here, only about 2.5k, but it is mostly concentrated on his Medusa, and this is something that you never really want to see if you're playing up against her. It's bad enough that she has the catch-up potential if he's leading to begin with. It's gonna hit these timings much earlier than you can really deal with at all.
Yeah, at the very least, you would think, you know, if the Medusa is farming uncontested, at least we sort of like exploit the other heroes and, you know, we kill them all over and over. But they're not. They're really not. If anything, they're giving away their kills. That should be fun.
Nick Assassin, here continuing the tradition of that hero to always find an Invisoon before hit level 6. You can roleplay a little bit, see what it's like if you had Vendetta.
Smoke now from the Void and the Warlock. They really need this. Both of them are level 6, so they have 2 big ultimates available. They should, and they need to find a kill with this. But I'm not sure if the Tidehunter is a sufficient target here. If they brought the Warlock ultimate, maybe they can force a tower with it. But I'm not even sure if they can, because if Medusa and Venge just TP down here, pretty sure they can defend it.
T2 UC, and that makes it more worth it. Elisash will fall without any sort of intervening ultimates. Necron's here, not the best here. Slark unable to right click through it. He also dropped the Golem here to make sure the Patterns cannot have any chance of a counterplay. We'll be looking for a tower, but middle lane, Nisha, threatening them as well with the catapult. So Flensmaster forced to try and deal with that. Only up top. He'll be absolutely fine. There's some more rotations on bottom. Cats over TP. Sounds of the reagent.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Level 6. Yeah, but with the Shadow Dance and cooldown, you still have to be very careful.
It's a bit of a
Doesn't get the tower with
it's a bit of a shallow victory. You get 2 kills, but you commit 2 ultimates for it. But I mean, you have to at this point, even if it's just the support and the Titan. 2 good kills for you. You know, the Void definitely needs kills if you can. Slark certainly can benefit from all these kills, and I think at this point you just need to rely on the fact, you know, once those abilities up, just always trying to look for a kill. Like at this point, the next 4 or 5 minutes, every cleansey has to be a kill.
Is there any way that they can leverage the Vendetta now from the next Assassin Keoli? Just hit level 6 as well a moment ago. Can you set up for kills with that, or you just not enough power?
He needs probably 1 or 2 heroes with it. They don't have a lot of burst damage, and a lot of their targets on Kinguin are really tanky. The Jakira is one of the tankiest supports. Medusa and Bench have become really tanky. Right now, you know, Strength Threads on the exotic here. Tidehunter is naturally tanky as well, with almost a mech completed as well. So I feel like this Nyx Assassin, if he wants to find a kill with the Vendetta, probably needs the Tiny or the Slark, or both.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Carta gets gone on, gets a little bit of help, drops the Magnetize as well as Silence, follow up Stone, he faces Boy, can get the time walk off. Especially with the interruption from Keoli. TPN as well from Patos. We have another Ravage available, so they're definitely looking to not let them get away with that. Scott free and close the next assassin, he'll be absolutely dead. And it's not helping, right? If you give up kills like that, after being a little bit too bold, barely getting out on your core, but still losing your support, this is just continuing to fuel up Kinguin. And again, look at this Medusa. 7.5k now to 4.5k on Slark as well as Faces Void. You only have Dragonlance, you're gonna look for a completed Hurricane Pike, Mask of Madness to work with. And after that, you can start looking about these bigger items, Butterflies, Scotties.
And at the same time, when the mid fight happened, the Jakiro was gone on bottom, and they couldn't kill him. Like a Slark and a Warlock couldn't kill him. And that, I think, is a pretty good sort of example of this game for Evil Corporation right now. We're gonna King Revenge here. She's pretty deep in. They have Chronosphere available as well.
Not sure about this one here. Patos a really good position to just counter it out, walk back in with the Ravage. We'll see Elisage, cards are not far away either. Yeah, good at him to walk out of that area too, because the Sentry Ward is down and available now. I just have to give up this tower of Lensmeister, kind of wasting some time here. The rest of the team trying to do what they can, trading for mid. They don't have really pushing power either. Elisage, coming through. This gets stunned up, but he's baiting. Look at his other TPs coming through. Katsu double stun, still keeping Elisage alive for the time being. Now with Magnetize, Region will get the last hit, but what costs him Ravage? Actually, he's trying to swap him back into it. That'll be enough regardless, even without that hitting. It's yet another indication how far behind you are. You kind of with the Ravage, more or less. You're still getting kills, is still kept that momentum here. They're looking for a tier 2.
And this
Not
is
the hero, so no liquid fire spam. He's still level 1 anyway.
this is just
Because he likes to go for the value point into the ice star, but still.
this is just, I think, you know, basically the greediness from their lineup sort of biting them in the ass. It's just drafting this tricore of heroes that all need a lot of farm can't really, you know, I mean, they need a solid laning stage at the very least. Like the Slark, yeah, it's a good mid-game sort of dominator, but he needs a good start. Otherwise, he can't really transition into that. Like against these tanky heroes, he's not gonna find solo kills that easily. And then also the fact that they prioritize the Void over the Tiny, because now the Tiny has to farm up before he can start, you know, pushing down towers. He picked up a Blink, which I like, because they definitely need him as a sort of like initiator and ganker right now, more so than a tower pusher. But even his combo right now, if they just pick up like a diffuse range up on one or two heroes, not gonna insta kill anybody.
Yep. Especially with Kinguin, they continue to stay as defense something like that. When you have too much vision around the map, they now see Tiny down bottom. They're trying to set up for this tower with the catapult wave coming through. They will secure it. What's the turn on Patos? Yeah. That's a trade-off here. He's being zoned out, top lane is being pushed in, and Kinguin are very happy trading a tier 1 for tier 2 at this stage. Another catapult of his own, 3 range keeps, liquid fire helping out just a little bit. They were in a similar position last game, except they didn't have this. Now they don't have that same kind of draft advantage with a Huskar having a hard time being countered.
Exactly. With a hero like a Huskar, you can always go for sort of like cheesy kills. Like you definitely know, you know, if you just commit to like a gank, you're most likely gonna get a kill, especially against the lineup that Kinguin had last game. But right now, I'm not even sure if they can definitely ensure a kill on anybody that isn't a support on top lane. That's the best Slark, isn't it? They know the ultimate.
Definitely looks like it here. Gets the jump away, and yeah, that's the ultimate. The urn was taking him out. Yeah, it was very close, very close indeed. But well, this is something that you cannot really afford.
Well,
at least you have the Void, starting to get more and more damage, and farm in general. It doesn't have the Mask of Madness, so high chance of getting a couple extra time locks inside these Chronospheres, and you can snag a kill with that. But Patos, he already has the mechanism to help out. Has the Blink Break queued up as well as the Hood of Defiance. We're gonna finish the latter one first. So he's gonna be able to help out a little bit. Nisha very tanky in his own right anyway.
We've been painting a very dire picture for Evil Corporation, but at the same time, you know, they still have the sort of like wombo combo potential. They definitely can hold high run very efficiently with Chronosphere, with Warlock Ultimate, you know, with Fatal Bonds. There's so much potential for like a bad positioning from Kinguin can immediately turn the tides. And once those items do come up, they can threaten the supports and potentially even the Vengeful Spirit if she oversteps. You know, she has a Mask of Madness, can be very squishy if they catch her off guard. That could be a kill once the Slark has, you know, his Diffusal Blade up. So it's by no means this is over, but it's just very difficult for Evil Corporation to play this right now.
Yeah. They're trying here to push in these lanes, force Kinguin back from already going high ground or just sieging it just a little bit. But they're not in a position where they are required to do so. Game number 1, they hit the timing with Exotic Longoid. They were very happy taking it. In this game, well, do whatever they want and go get some roach, get themselves an Aegis. Well, bottom lane is still only slowly being pushed in, even with a macro pipe from Jakiro, slowing that down even further. So, Evil Corporation, they're not really being as efficient as Kinguin is across the map, with the farm, with the pushes. Now we have the threat of a Ravage, plus an Aegis and Medusa. Kinguin can start to threaten high ground if they really want to here, despite the Chronosphere, despite the Warlock. But now, alright, taking medicine to their own hands, they're gonna go on Jakiro, bring him down, Ravage, coming too late to save him. It's a bit of a waste there from Patos.
Yeah, but surprising that he would go for that. Even if he saves the Jakiro there, it's not like the Jakiro can, you know, turn around and instantly kill all of them. It was maybe a bit of miscommunication, maybe expected somebody else from Kinguin to also TP. Can definitely happen. But at the same time, for Kinguin, it's not easy to walk uphill. Yeah, you have the Aegis, and you know, you have all those items up right now, but it's not easy to just walk up with Siege. There's so much kill potential on Evil Corporation's side in those choke points. They could blink, toss the Medusa away to the tier 4s and they could just kill her, or at the very least force Kinguin to be in a very compromising position.
Yep. Well, for now, Keoli. Being a bit annoying towards Medusa up top. They still need to try and secure their side of the map if they can. Secure some extra to farm here to get... again, the Fusion Blade is completed now on Slug. So he's getting there in terms of damage output. Didn't opt to go for the Shadow Blade. Because I'm not sure it would have done enough for them this game. Just has to rely on his quick fingers and well-timed Dark Pact as well as his ultimate to keep him alive. Obviously you also have already Nyx Assassin as the invis hero on the field, so there's going to be detection. You're not necessarily going to be able to rely on a Shadow Blade to get yourself out of bad situations, or even to initiate.
If you look at the experience and network graph, you can actually see that it's plateauing a little bit on both ends, on both fronts. And this is, I think, just Evil Corporation is spreading the map a lot. Like, they're just trying to farm as efficiently as possible. Yeah, sure, you're giving away towers, giving away Roshan. You can't contest those anyway. Yeah. So just splitting the map like they are doing right now and just farming pretty much everywhere they can is actually pretty good. And they do have some good items coming up, you know. I mean, we have double the Fusion Blade now on the cores. There's a Solar Crest on the Warlock. Those are good items to pick up this early. Yeah. Not this early, but at this stage of the game, I suppose.
Gonna have to put them to use though, and double damage on a Tiny for a little bit longer, but okay, they're gonna try. Bring down the Mental Third, but down to half health only here. Chronosphere on a couple of targets, didn't quite get Medusa though, so Nisha gets the ultimate off, with plenty of mana, still trying to burst him down with the Fuel Blade, not gonna work out. Flensmeister, he's silenced here from his own Masked Commanders, can time work out, so he will be the trade in exchange for Exotic Gear only. Still afraid though of a couple of Fatal Bombs here between Anastasia and Nisha, trying to at least get that one extra kill, but well, at what cost? There's two more heroes, Medusa still in the middle of that, still holding on to the Aegis. So Buyback is forced out to keep the rack safe, but he's still lost the TSP tower. Very early on into the game, Kinguin setting themselves up for continued success, yeah. They didn't even have to use the Rabbit Head fight.
Yeah, if they Chronos here, Medusa, that's a completely different fight.
Oh yeah.
Her getting the Stone Gaze out was so huge because it was basically, it made the Chronosphere almost useless. Yeah, you almost kill the Venge in that Chronosphere, and she dies afterwards as well. But if they get the Medusa in that Chronosphere, they'd probably find 3-4 kills there. Because that was actually a really beautiful combo, you know, Fatal Bombs, Warlock Ultimate on top of it. I'm a bit surprised how they all initiated that with the Tiny jump in. If you blink in that aggressively, I think you just toss the Vengeful Spirit back. And then if she wants to get out, she kind of has to aggressively, or she has to defensively swap either a teammate or... I don't know. I think they could have potentially played it a little bit differently.
Keoli sees the dead here, not just a missile, but still punch back into an ice path and whatnot. So he ran into a sentry ward, Katsuo slung it down long enough for Exotic Gear to TP in. And
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Still feels really bad. Like 16k net worth Medusa, so freaking strong. Now you lost one of your heroes. Nisha still has Aegis for 30 seconds.
But they know this.
Yeah.
No ultimates are available, or the big ultimates aren't available.
Chronosphere again in 10 seconds or so, but that alone might not even do the trick at this point anymore. Cardinals with magnets and with a pipe now completed as well. The Ravage that they don't even care about your people. Just standing there slow. Keoli back from the dead, taking out a TP. Not winning from Ryujin, but Rax is taking the punishment. They have to make a play right now, and that is Blink Toss into the stun. Ravage still comes out though, so Patos will be just fine, only not so much. He gets brought down by Russell Kinguin. There's a Chronosphere in 4, alright, that works. Bring down one. Keoli not ready with the follow-up Impale though. So, well, I just started this around. Flensmeister stunned up. Again, no time walk because of Masked Madness. He will fall. Does a fireback, but what does it really matter?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Without the Chronosphere, you can't really do anything. And, well, at the very least, Kinguin keeping us on schedule somewhat. Second semi-finals was supposed to start 10 minutes ago or so. But that is, they still had the Warlock go and come back off cooldown, but the Son of the Stark, he is dead. Just running out through them, they cannot bring down anyone, let alone Nisha.
Yeah, that fight in mid lane, that was just really badly executed from the World Corporation. You know, the Blink Toss, this is something that I referred to earlier, it doesn't really work on the Tidehunter because you're not going to kill him, and he, if anything, that was a perfect for Tidehunter. He found the perfect initiation, 3-man Ravage on top of it. So, that was just not great from them at all. There was a great Chronosphere, but even during the Chronosphere, who did they focus? They focused the Tidehunter who already blew the Ravage.
Yeah. The zone was lowest, they didn't feel confident enough having enough damage for anyone else. And the stun, they tried to use the stun on the Tide Hunter. Didn't quite prevent the Ravage, so it was on cooldown. He has a follow for the Chronosphere because they all lined up pretty well. Could have been a Ravage on the side of E-Corp if they had that available, but just wasn't the case. Now, at the very least, they claimed Katsu on the way back. There's also Gem down. Did they see it? Not even sure. Still lying there, no one picked it up. Courier also not on the way. Pathos gets the blink out. Evil Corporation, they're trying their best. They're sticking around in this game. They want to do one more team fight, and if they execute it properly, maybe they can defend, maybe they can get themselves something. Some sort of momentum.
Medusa is completely out of position, and I believe they noted it as well. Like, if they can find the Medusa here, that'd be huge. Vegas is down after all.
Finds him now. Tier 2 is still alive though, and forced to reveal himself. Spidey senses are tingling here for Medusa, and that is what was perhaps the ward. On the high ground, scouting out 1 or 2 heroes.
They were a bit hesitant at first because they weren't entirely sure if somebody, if maybe there is backup for the Medusa after all. But a bit unfortunate for the Evil Corporation. Honestly, I think they need to try and find a fight somewhere in the enemy jungle, or somewhere not inside their own base. I don't think that's a favorable fight for them right now.
If you lose a fight on the other side of the map, maybe you have a chance to respawn, but if you also keep the lanes pushed out, if you lose another fight on your side of the map, it's just GG.
At the very least, if you take a fight somewhere else, you don't give Kinguin time to position themselves. Like, in the mid lane, that was such a good positioning from Kinguin. Yeah, they all walk into the 5-man Chronosphere, but before that, they were perfectly split. There was no opening for, like, a 3-man Chronosphere, 2-man top, so this is... Like, if you want to fight with those big ultimates, I think you kind of have to do it in intentional guard. So
CK only paths to cover the gems, so they can keep track of the Nyx. So he's dead. Does a buyback, uses it immediately.
If they had just picked up the gem earlier, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. There was also Sentry down that scouted them out first. So. And there's more detection available for Hero. And they're gonna go try to be a bit annoying, but meanwhile, Stone gets up front, Ravage, catching Nyx assassin, that's a buyback in him. Area, no buyback for him either. The 2 supports down the drain. Meanwhile, the back. Lens trying to do what he can together with the rest of his team, but they just don't quite have enough power. The Chronosphere comes through onto Medusa, can barely even eat through half the mana before he dies. And GG is called. Evil Corporation. A really good game 2. Managing to eke out a victory here and take it off of Team Kinguin. But ultimately, game 3 laning stage not really working in their favor, and then Medusa way too strong for them to handle.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where you look towards the draft and ask yourself, why did it go wrong? I think the draft could have worked if they had a great laning stage, win 2 out of 3 lanes potentially. But they didn't really set themselves up to do that in the first place. Just,